of homicide, excusable homicide, it was unlawful. And therefore I find the first accused person guilty as charged.
Hello and welcome to my channel. So that was the guilty verdict reading for Jowie Irungu, the guy on the right. So the lady on the left is Jacque Maribe, who was a co-defendant, but she was acquitted of that offense. So let's just see how the judge arrived at that verdict. So the news article read, Justice Nzioka based her verdict on 6 issues of determination, including whether Jowie Irungu knew Monica before her death, whether the accused stole and used the stolen ID to access where the deceased was staying, and whether the clothes he was wearing implicated him in the commission of the offense. The other issues are whether Jowie was in the deceased's house and whether he was the last person to be seen with the deceased, whether he had a G, and lastly, whether the accused was positively identified on the identification parade. So I'm going to use a lot of code words so that my video is not flagged down by YouTube. So, number 1, whether Jowie Irungu knew Monica before her death. Justice Grace Nzioka termed Jowie's claim that he did not know Monica was untenable, insincere, and an afterthought and false. She cited witness statements by Monica's brother, George Kimani, who told the court that Joy went to the same college, that is Kenya Polytechnic, with a late sister, as well as evidence from a mobile data analyst who confirmed phone conversations between the two. It is the finding of this court that the evidence by the first accused person, that is Jowie Irungu, that he did not know the deceased prior to her death is untenable, insincere, and is an afterthought, and it is false. It is the finding of this court that the first accused was known to the deceased prior to her death, said the judge. Come to the second point, whether Joey stole and used the stolen ID to access where the deceased was staying. So on this, the judge found that a Kenyan by the name of Dominic Becerra lost his identity card on September 17th of 2018 when he went to Royal Park Estate, where Joey and Maribe lived, to look for casual work. It would later be proved in court that one of the people who visited Monica on the fateful night of September 19th of 2018 produced an ID in the name of Dominic Becerra. Number 3, whether the clothes he was wearing implicate him in the commission of the offense. So Justice Grace Nzioka pointed out that from the prosecution witness accounts, there was collaborative evidence on the clothes Joey was wearing on the fateful day. So Pamela, the first accused's house help, stated that when Joey left the house on 19th of September 2018, he was wearing a white shirt with patterns, a maroon cape, and brown shorts. A gentleman named Jennings stated he met the first accused on the 19th of September and was wearing a t-shirt, brown shorts, and a maroon cape. There is collaborative evidence as to the clothes which the first accused was wearing on the material date, said the judge. Point 4, whether he was in the deceased's house and whether he was the last person to be seen with the deceased. So on this matter, the judge cited evidence from a protected witness who from the identification parade singled out Joey, whom he said left the house at 11 p.m. and no one else went to that house. Point 5, whether Joey had a gun on the day of the murder. On this, Justice Nzioka concurred with the prosecution that Joey intentionally secured a gun from the neighbor which he intended and used to subdue the deceased. Kasaine, I think it's the G owner, testified that the first accused person had earlier on borrowed his G to go on what he said was a refresher training, returned it, and then borrowed it again. According to Kasaine, he was supposed to return it after 2 days, but he didn't. And so by 19th of September, Joey had a G, the judge highlighted. That was very reckless of that Kasaine person. How do you just give somebody your weapon? Let's move on. That corroborates the evidence of Jennings that when they left Roadhouse, the first accused person opened the dashboard of the car and removed the G after putting a white kanzu on top of his clothes. Went and picked a taxi and went where he was going. She added, if he was armed with a G and it was not used to delete the deceased, I'm in concurrence with the prosecution that it was intended and used to subdue the deceased. And point 6, whether Jowie was positively identified on the identification parade. So she pointed out that the accused person did not sign the form where he was supposed to confirm that he was satisfied with how the identification parade was conducted. Further, the judge noted that one of the witnesses testified that before going to the identification parade, he had seen a photograph of Jowie, therefore, that must have aided and abetted him to quickly pick out the accused from the parade. We don't find the first accused person guilty of the offense he is being charged with based purely on the evidence of the identification parade per se, she said. In her determination, the judge concluded that all the evidence culminatively leads to a strong conclusion that the first accused person deleted the deceased. So she summed up by saying the first accused person stole the ID of Dominic Becerra 2 days before the commission of the offense, armed himself with a G, carried a kanzu, put it over his clothes, went to Lemuria Gardens, disguised his identity, gained access to the apartment of the deceased, deleted the deceased, left the deceased house, changed his clothes, and eventually went home and burnt the clothes which he wore during the commission of the offense. So, following his conviction, Jowie will be sentenced for the offense of murder on the 8th of March 2024. So, I'm happy Jackie was acquitted of that offense. She has really suffered for the last 5 years because immediately she was charged, she got fired by Citizen, and yet she's a single mother. So I think I'll be revisiting this story because it kind of reminds me of the story I just covered about Kevin Kangede, the guy who escaped from custody while awaiting extradition to the US for deleting his ex-girlfriend. So just let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Like and share this video. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.